What is up, ladies and gents, and welcome to my Scout Sniper build. I'm going to run you through all the skills and then we're going to take a look at some gameplay. This build is very much so viable for overkill and Deathwish difficulty, and even has a stealthing element in it, and I'm quite proud of it. I genuinely think it's strong. But if you take a look at the Mastermind tree we're currently looking at, you can already tell it's a little bit confusing, and there are lots of skills that we just seem to be omitting, so I'm going to have to talk you through that. But the reason this video is taking a little longer is because I started getting ill again, and I realized I just kept pushing myself to make videos, and it was probably that was wrecking my voice. So I've taken a break. I'm much better now, and hopefully you can tell I don't sound too raspy in the video. So immediately looking at Mastermind, you can see we go all the way up to Inspire, so that explains me picking up Painkillers and Combat Medic. Also, we want as many of these skills aced out as is possible, but also the exact right number to get us onto the correct tier. So we've got these standard things such as Endurance. I really like Leadership. Dominator's often necessary in order to convert to free your friends from jail. You got Cable Guy, by no means necessary, but as I've said, it's something you need to pick up to move you on up. Spotter is also very useful. You might be better acing this out over picking up some of these useless dead skills, but I'm trying to be as efficient with my point allocation in this tree so I can save them elsewhere. So depending on how you look at it, me picking up Equilibrium, I'm never going to use pistols on this build, is useless, but it's that one point I needed to push me onto this tier. For example, there I picked up Stockholm Syndrome, which isn't that good a skill. There's an innate issue with this skill in that it seems quite nice. You will often fall down with civilians near you, and you want them to revive you, and there's a chance for it to happen. I actually don't know what the percentage chance is. There's no real clear indicator. But the problem is, if there are still civilians round about 10 minutes into the heist when you could potentially be going down, then they're probably cable tied. So best luck reviving you. But I've never used the skill before, and I thought I'd try it out. It's always struck me as a useless one, but as I said, I needed it to push me onto the next tier to pick up Kilmer, which is very useful, and I also didn't particularly want just 4 points into Joker, because I think the regular convert is useless, especially since they added Partner in Crime, and I also didn't see the point in picking up Combat Doctor, seeing as how First Aid Meds is what I'm going to be rolling with, and Doctor's Bags, just having an additional one seemed like a waste of points. At least this has a chance of being useful. As I said, Kilmer, that 25% reload speed is huge for the Muzzin Nagant, which is the weapon we're using. Those of you who saw my Boxing Day video will be aware of that. And it really does need that 25%. It reloads very slowly, frustratingly so, really. It's one of the only problems with what is otherwise a fantastic weapon. As I've already said, Inspire, it's so staple on Deathwish, you need someone carrying this to get through the mission, really, so I've got aced out Inspire. Enforcer's quite simple, everyone always should be carrying Transporter. I also got Pumping Iron. I really like this. It's just one single point you have to sink. You do 50% more melee damage to non-special enemies. If you're using the Trench Knife or Novice Shank, you will rip through regular green hats with this skill. I'm a real fan of it. You don't need to ace it out. You don't want to melee specials on Deathwish, but because the health pool of the regular 130 health enemies doesn't go up on Deathwish, they are still ripped through by your Trench Knife melee weapon, and that's my personal favourite melee weapon right now. Then I have Rifleman. I could have gone for a point in Sharpshooter if I'd really messed around my points. So another thing that I really like, and one place where this could go if you don't like melee weapons, is Nerves of Steel. 50% less damage while interacting with things, but I really do feel that suits a tankier build where you have a lot of shield to take down while you can run in and fix the drill. Really, with these fast rogue dodge builds, Nerves of Steel doesn't have the same application, but Rifleman definitely is necessary. That 100% faster snap to zoom with sniper rifles is what makes them quite viable even at close range. We're not going to sink too much into Ghost again, we just want Sprinter, Fast Hands, and SMG Specialist. I'm choosing SMGs as my secondary weapons just because you don't have to sink a lot of points into them to make them viable. Too many points sunk into shotguns and too many into pistols, so SMGs are that comfortable middle ground, and they really are quite powerful when coupled with the Rogue Perk deck, which we'll get onto later. So, moving to talk about the Fugitive, which is another large place where my points are sunk. So, first of all, you notice I picked up an aced hidden blade. That's to reduce my concealment, to make my build that much more reliable for stealth, and even to maximize the usage of low blow and sneaky bastard, which we'll get onto later. This is of course the crit sniper scout build. Thick skin, some additional steadiness. You need these points to get over onto the next tier anyway. Daredevil, faster climbing speed. It often doesn't come in, but you will feel it when you're climbing up a ladder. You'll notice, as I said, I aced this out. You need that shinobi perk. Enemies make 95% less noise when shot or melee to death, and this just seems like the easiest way to pick it up to move you up the fugitive skill tree. Duck and cover for better dodge chance. I do find myself going to crouch a lot when I'm on low health, and I'm almost positive, though you don't feel it, this 15% chance to dodge while crouching does come into play. Then you got run and gun, which is pretty staple in the fugitive skill tree, additional movement speed and unhindered steel sight, which is most notably useful on sniper rifles. I also had some additional points, I'll talk about this. You want to own quick fix. That 50% faster deploy time for first aid kits is really useful. But the ace, which costs an additional 3 points, really isn't worth it. 20% less damage for 10 seconds for crew members who use them. No, it probably won't save them on the harder difficulties, let's be honest, so it's not worth putting points into. As meh as Sixth Sense may be, which is not a word I can say easily, hang on, let me try again. Sixth Sense, there we go. It does have its uses, and it's a unique way to try and approach stealth. When you're stealthing, I hear this a lot, you want to move around as much as possible, standing still does not work, but 3.5 seconds is nothing, and it does have its uses on a guard-filled map such as the Diamond Heist. Then we have the Winston Wolf, an additional body bag, just making you that bit more reliable for stealth if needed. And uppers is totally necessary. As I said, we're focusing on first aid kits as opposed to the medic bag, so this is the way we choose to go. The reason for this primarily is just the fact that I needed these points because I wasn't going to go into Swan Song to move me up to Sneaky Bastard and Low Blow. Now, Low Blow is the primary focus of this build. You get a 3% additional critical hit chance for every 1 point of concealment under 35. The lowest you can make your concealment, I believe, when using the Mosin Nagant is 20. That's including the use of Hidden Blade. So if you don't ace these skills out, both Sneaky Bastard and Low Blow, you're only going to get half the usage out of it. And that's even when compromising by using ultra low concealment secondaries. Instead, I advise you ace both these skills out. You can get it down to 23, I believe, is the average concealment I run at using the suit, the Mosin, and any of the higher concealment SMGs, but you don't have to suppress them. You can still make them quite viable for combat, and you'll get that additional 10% dodge, plus you get 30% chance to crit, which is so helpful on Death Wish difficulty, where sometimes there's just a couple of additional points of damage you need to put into, most notably shields if you're shooting them through the shield, or tasers, even cloakers. These crits can be incredibly helpful. I'm under the impression a critical hit is double damage. Don't quote me on that. It would make sense, but it's something I've had quite a tough time testing, because if you roll crit, they die and you don't know the damage you did because you just did their whole health. The easiest way to test would be on a bulldozer, and I've not easily been able to see. If someone can correct me on that or confirm it, that would be really helpful. So next up we have the perk decks. There are two potential options that you're going to want to switch between depending on the type of mission. We have Rogue, which is so well suited for this build overall. You've got things like huge amounts of dodge, elusive to reduce your chance of being targeted. If you go on a stealth mission, you and your ECM carrying friends can go stealthing while you set one guy back with the muscle perk deck on carrying meat shield, and that will allow you, if things go south, you're not only very effective in a fight, you're also less likely to be targeted and can run around quite freely completing the mission objectives. On top of that, Killer Instinct is also huge for users of LMGs and SMGs. That 25% chance to pierce enemy armor is likely to proc when you shoot as many bullets as an SMG does. On top of that, the additional weapon swap time allows for snipers to be switched out at close range situations, and the SMG can really clean up. It's a very effective perk deck if you intend to go loud. However, Just as good a choice if you're stealthy is Burglar. The new Burglar perk deck added within the Clover DLC will not only give you chances to dodge and chances to be targeted less frequently. Admittedly, you have to stand still and crouch often, which is not always advisable on the harder difficulties. You can also do things in stealth, such as bagging corpses 20% faster within Bags of Tricks, or Bag of Tricks. Luck of the Irish allows you to pick locks 20% faster, which is also very helpful, and Dutch Courage, answering pages 10% faster, means you can take out 2 guards at once and not worry about answering both of their pages. It's a very effective perk deck. I haven't actually unlocked the whole thing, but just about this much is good enough to assist in a stealthing mission. So finally, onto the weapons. We have the primary, which is the Nagant Sniper Rifle. You can already see it doesn't seem too good. It's got negative accuracy and stability just for a bit of concealment. So the real choice you have to make is that 30% crit chance worth it? Is what you're losing within the weapon stats itself and the potential attachments you could use otherwise really worth it? Well, to me it is. If you're confident enough with this weapon, you don't feel you need the accuracy and the stability. You feel like your own abilities to keep steady with it and take your shots and not miss outweighs these downsides, then absolutely crit is a fantastic way to go with it. The way you create this, and the only real way to modify it, is of course with the short barrel, without the bayonet, no gadget, or well, you could choose the compact laser module if you really wish. The sight has to be the iron sight, which I am actually a huge fan of anyway, and the stock, the discreet stock, and that's going to let you set this weapon up to have enough concealment to reduce your detection risk below that sweet spot at 25. Now then, the secondaries, I have 2 to choose from. We have the Cobra or the Blaster. The Blaster is my personal preference for the loud missions. It's quite a viable weapon. It's got a decent clip size with the extended magazine. It's got good damage, good enough damage anyway at 28. The accuracy is not too strong, but you can really pile into stability. One person question, why do I not always go for the sweet spots in accuracy, stability, and damage? Personally, it's because I don't think those sweet spots are as consistent as people would originally suggest. The idea is you have just enough damage to 3-shot, 4-shot, 5-shot certain enemy types, but if you're hitting the headshots, the multipliers mean you want as much damage as possible, and they're not the be-all and end-all. So that's why I'm sometimes a little bit loose and frugal with where I drop my accuracy at, and I personally prefer stability over accuracy. So to modify this like this, for the high amounts of concealment, you're going to have to run the short barrel. You're going to want to bring the stubby compressor, or compensator I should say. I would advise the fire breather. I believe if you run that, you can still have a low enough detection rate just about, but it's not the way I would choose to run it. Magazine wise, extended mag, this is where you have to drop down on concealment, but it's worth it, I feel, for those additional shots and slight stability increase. No sight, don't want to reduce that concealment, and you can't use the just bend it. Unfortunately, again, it drops down your concealment. So that's how you run your Blaster, if that's your SMG of choice. Otherwise, the Cobra is a decent enough choice. You can notice my detection risk is even lower, making it more viable for stealth. Running the low-profile suppressor, again, it's my stealth weapon. The grip is the Ergo grip, some additional concealment. You don't want to bring the extended mag on this one. This is, again, mainly designed for stealth, and it's a good option. Even if you break stealth, it has a solid enough damage and fire rate to keep up on overkill difficulty, not so much on Death Wish. And then again, no stock for that additional concealment to drop that detection as low as possible. Melee, I've already said, trench knife, I love it. The Spear of Freedom is also really good, but look at the concealment on that thing, really not good enough. And then Nova's Shank is also viable. If you're wondering why these skins look slightly different, I still have some of my Christmas mods on from that episode. Suit is your armor of choice, of course, and then the equipment, you want first aid kits. And that is it for the build. Don't know why we went on to mass. That's it for the build. I hope you guys enjoy the gameplay, and will try out this build yourselves. Crit really is inconsistent, but when it works, you feel it working, again, particularly on the Death Wish difficulty. And the Mosin's such a strong weapon. Anyway, this build also allows you to bring along Inspire, so I definitely feel you're getting the best of most worlds. Of course, you don't have those tanky shotgun skills to go along with it, but yeah, definitely a powerful enough build. So this weapon is absolutely already off to a winner. It is the Mosin, which in my recent Mosin review video, I gave a 9.5 and think it is the best in class. And that's even without this critical setup. In fact, I knocked the concealment attachments. I think I said I thought they were a waste. But, you know, my eyes have been opened to the potential of Death Wish crit. And it's still very viable on overkill, giving you those huge bulldozer 2-3 shots, aiming through the plating, and even against cloakers, still very strong on overkill, assuming you roll that 30%. Otherwise, it's a slight waste, and you could definitely go for more powerful attachments. But like I said, it's a Death Wish centered build, and what's unusual is how the SMG is working on Death Wish. Well, there's a couple of reasons why that is as functioning as it is. So, as I've said, the SMG really benefits from that 25% armor penetration. On top of that, you have the 30% crit chance. This thing shoots bullets very quickly. You're going to tear through, even aiming at the body, simply because you have the penetration plus the crit chance. Again, I believe crit chance is double damage, so you're looking at a 3-4 shot. For most enemies, even some specials get torn through, assuming the random number generator is on your side. As far as combat scenarios for this build, there are some very powerful corridors you can hold down. The example I'm using here is on Framing Frame Day 3, defending the power box. The enemies all funnel through doors and staircases, and they're easy pickings. You can get multi-kills, and it's quite ammo efficient in that sense. The Mosin is already quite ammo efficient, and ever since they added additional ammo pickup to Perk decks, it's quite reliable, but even more so now that you can take out about 3 enemies in a single shot. Other missions, Rats Day 3, really nice long sight lines, you can be the spotter, and that is the overall idea for this build. Like I said, it is a scout sniper build. You stay away from your teammates, you spot out the big enemies, you take out what you can, you retreat back into them, you're less likely to be focused because of your perk deck, you will dodge the vast majority of shots coming your way, you can heal on the move, and overall I really like the whole role-playing aspect of it, as well as the viability, which is really great to see. You definitely feel like a sort of Sam Fisher type secret agent, and again it works for stealth, so even more so you have more viability with this build than most others. You got your player dozer build, which is strong as it may be for Death Wish. I think dodge may be more reliable at this point. There are so many tools that dodge gives you access to. On top of that, your additional movement speed and ability to get objectives done faster just makes it that much more powerful. And so I am considering this potentially a more powerful build, even than my player dozer build. May not be quite my style. My accuracy on keyboard and mouse may not hold up. I've played quite a few competitive shooters in my time on keyboard and mouse, but I was much more of a controller guy, but for whatever reason, the controller support on Payday just doesn't work in my head. I can't get the sensitivity right, so I of course run keyboard and mouse, and I have a reasonably solid setup at home for that. So we've talked about the weapon, there's a load more gameplay, and I will let you watch that without my irritating commentary over the top, but just quickly, we're coming to New Year. There's only going to be one more video in or before New Year. That might be released on New Year's Day, or it might be released on New Year's Eve. And we're going to be obviously taking a look at the mass over the year. And Mask of the Day is kicking back up in the new year. That is quite exciting. Mask of the Day has been on and off for the past few months, mainly due to Crime Fest, mainly due to the fact that Payday's been getting so many content updates, so many other things I wanted to talk about, and so masks have sort of sidelined. There's about 7 or 8 fantastic, some of the best looking masks in the game, but I haven't covered properly, and so I'm absolutely going to do that moving on into Mask of the Days. And also I'm getting Steam messages with masks, which I'm writing down. I've got a huge backlog. Again, just to elaborate a little bit on being ill, I've had things like chest infections just hitting me over this festive season, unfortunately, and because of that, recording has been a little more sporadic. So that's something that I'm hoping will change, of course, entering into the hopefully warmer months of February, January. Maybe not, actually, but I'll do my best to try to not get ill again. And again, just to re-mention that I took another short 4 or 5 day break simply because I wanted to properly get over this stupid cold. And I seem to have done that quite successfully. And again, I'm hoping the new year will allow me to be more consistent in my uploads. One other thing I promised, streaming. the Twitch. I've been absolutely awful with it. I hope you guys can understand the primary reason I've not been able to stream is because I wouldn't be very much fun streaming, being so ill on and off, and I've just been trying to enjoy the sort of Christmas period with my family and my friends, playing some more casual games. But I will go back into streaming weekdays from about 7 o'clock again, 7 till 9, 7 till 10 most nights. And you guys, hopefully I'll build up a consistent following for that. The only problem with that, though, is I can then struggle to find something to upload for the day. That is where the new account comes in. The link to the new account is in the description. That is going to kick off in New Year. Again, I intended it to kick off a little earlier than that, but being ill, I've just not really felt like playing, interacting, and so I've had to take, a short break, which I'm over now, and so New Year equals new account with playing with you guys, and that's where I'm hoping to be streaming a lot of my gameplay and taking stream highlights and uploading them as YouTube videos. Don't for a moment think that's lazy. I really hope you don't. I try and put a really decent amount of production quality into these reviews and builds and Mask of the Days, but with those quick, easy uploads, it will allow me to stream on weekdays, which seems like a pretty popular decision. Again, a couple of other things to talk about. 10,000 subscribers. I haven't talked about it enough. I'm nearly at 10. I was going to say 10 and a half. That would be impressive. 10,500. That tells you how quickly I'm now growing, how quickly Payday is growing, which is fantastic. Welcome to all of you new subscribers. And content, just to reiterate, is going to be not as few and far between for those of you who've subscribed in the last few days. I usually am consistent with my uploads, and hopefully you guys who are new will try out this new build. As far as console updates and news and next-gen stuff, I know that's coming next year. I do not know the dates, but there's definitely something to be excited about along those lines, and that will mean more new stuff. I do own an Xbox One, and we'll be picking up the next-gen version of Payday 2, which was confirmed a little while ago. So I think that's it on the news and updates, so I don't keep repeating myself. I hope you enjoyed the build. As I've already said, the Muzzin is just one of the best weapons in the game right now, especially on Deathwish difficulty, and I was really surprised by the Cobra and the Blaster, two very powerful SMGs, and I've said in the past, SMGs really fall off after Overkill. Most notably, I said that in my Thompson review, which isn't a bad SMG at all. Well, if you've got ones with crazy fast fire rate and you're running crit and armor pen, there's definitely a spot for them, even on Deathwish difficulty. Thanks a lot for watching. See you all in the next one.
Stack some money.